When you learn to code, do you ever feel stuck learning something over and over again? Or just get really bored of learning every minor CSS method and wonder, would I ever need them in my life? Then you might convince yourself that it might pay off in the future, but then the material is never ending, function after function, method after method. You're this close to quit for good. When I went through the same path and I knew something had to change. I didn't want to give up on learning, but I also didn't want to waste time on the things I might never use in my life. So that's when I found a smarter way by using AI, and more specifically the Kasra AI, to streamline my learning process and not only make coding faster, but make it actually fun. So let me show you how I turned my frustration into progress and learned to code literally 9 times faster. Hello friends, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Kasra. I'm a data scientist and a full-time AI manager. On this channel, I share my journey of building AI applications, mastering web development, and reaching my goal of 1 million euros in passive income. If that sounds interesting to you, hit subscribe and join me on this adventure. So if you don't know, I'm currently following App Academy full stack development course, which to my research is the most comprehensive course on full stack. Now, App Academy has 2 versions of this course. One is the normal one, which is quite pricey, and the other one is the App Academy Open, which is basically the same material, but without the support and the community and the revision on an assignment. And obviously, I'm following the open one. If you're also curious to join the App Academy Open course, I have a very quick tutorial on my Instagram account that you can watch and easily join this course. Now, back to the learning process. Currently, I'm learning intermediate CSS, which if you ever try to learn, man, there is a lot of material and very minor things like how to adjust the code, the color codes, the grid line, the flag system, the box system. The design world is just limitless. And not only I get bored, but I also can't really handle this amount of information. I will never code them. I will always use ChatGPT or AI in the future if I want to do that. And that was when I had a eureka moment. I said, why don't I just use AI now to learn and do all the projects? Because one thing about coding is you're not going to learn programming, coding, or in my opinion, any other skill as long as you don't do it. So I actually want to do these projects with App Academy, but every project can take up to weeks because you need to copy paste the code from different websites, hard code the things, and then go back to the material and come back. So it's just not feasible for me because I have 2 hours per day. Just creating a web page can take me weeks. So I did an experiment because I use Kasra as a daily basis in my current job, but I never use it for learning. I always use for the things that I already knew. So I said, why not trying to also learn? And I found it to be amazing. It's literally like a virtual coach that I hire. Now, if you've never heard of Kasra or you're new to it and don't know what's the best setting, what's the best way to interact with it, I'm about to make a full tutorial on how to master Kasra. Or if you're watching this video from future, you should already see it pop up there, or worst case scenario in the caption. Now I'm going to share with you 5 specific ways in which Kasra will help me learn faster and make coding way more efficient. To do so, let's make things practical and do the exact same thing that I did with one of the App Academy projects. A disclaimer: if you're new into coding and programming, do not try this. Wait. Don't listen to me. Do not code with AI. No. Because then you will never learn to program. You need to develop the programming mentality, and as long as you don't code in literally in piece of paper with pen and pencil or whatever you want to use, you will not develop that pseudocoding and programming mentality, which is the most important thing that can distinguish you from other developers. Because with AI, everyone can code, but no one can program. And by program, I mean problem solving. So you need to develop that problem solving. Do the assignment yourself, hard code things until you can understand the pseudocoding. Then you can try to shift AI.
Just do!
So this is the project that we are going to do together. It's to recreate this web page, as they call it, App Academy Times, which if you're a beginner, it could take you days, if not weeks, provided that you spend 2 hours, 3 hours per day, especially because it starts from a blank page. The only material that you get is their GitHub, which gives you the structure, but the code is empty. Like basically there is no code. You need to hardcode or copy paste it and recreate the whole page from zero. They do guide you through how to build it. They give you direction, but then the choice of functions, the choice of code, where to put them, all the design part, everything is by you. So the most important way in which Cursor helps you to learn faster is actually it becomes your programming mentor. Not only it codes you, but it also explains to you if you want it. So instead of you wasting time on finding the right function, searching in Stack Overflow or everywhere that you search, usually you just concentrate on integrating the pieces together. So now moving to the environment of Cursor, I cloned the Git repository on my local, and this is basically the starting point. As you see, it's empty. Why not? Let's give it a try and ask Cursor what this project is about. So only thing you need to do is to open the chat, ask and explain what this project is about. And to have the context feed into the Cursor, you can just click on code and it will start learning the whole structure of the project. And it gives you the same explanation of the App Academy page actually, which is here. So you can literally also start coding from Cursor and you don't need to go back and forth, but for the sake of learning, we need to, we assume that you want to learn, not just copy paste the project, because what's the point of it? Come on. Let's go to the first phase of the project. In this phase, they want us to recreate the header part of the page. And I'm going to show you how I would normally do this project myself. So first, they want us to systemize the main HTML file. And they actually give you the guideline. You just need to type doctype and it should automatically be generated in any kind of editor that you have. So let's just do it. Go to the index.html, type yes, and click on tab, and voila, everything is generated. Now let's go back and see what else they want us to do. They say, okay, change the title of the document to App Academy and also link the main style CSS file. Okay, I don't really want to do this. It's boring. I know how to do it, but I don't want to hardcode it. So why just not use exact same thing they asked us and ask Cursor, can you be so kind and do it for me? And usually he is. You see, it just detected the index.html and I can just click on applied. And yes, the title has changed. Or was it changed? I think it actually detected it before. Yeah. So it actually didn't change. It's way smarter. It actually predicted what we wanted to do in the future. Better. Now let's go to the second part, in which they want us to add this little list. They explain that you need to have these kind of things, and then they explain how you should add it in the masthead CSS file. So let's just go ask Cursor to do it. We can say add the following. Oh, it generates it for us. It not only adds it to the main HTML that we are working on at the moment, and we can just hit apply. The list is already here, and before applying the CSS, let's see how it looks. So we just need to run this file. Okay, this is the thing. How does it look like compared to the actual thing? Okay, it has something. I don't know why it has a border. Maybe there is some style already in the CSS. But then we just apply the CSS part. So if you go back, actually even some steps further. So it should be the final position of the elements, I think, because you can see there is the border. There are some padding here. I'm pretty sure the Cursor was trained on App Academy, so it knows the future. But yeah, that's basically it. So instead of me wasting time on trying to find the right CSS, which I will never do in the future, I can just rely on Cursor. And if you just play with it a little bit more, another 5 minutes, you can easily reach to this header. Now, what if I actually have a question and I don't know what the is going on here? I can just ask Cursor, right? And say, okay, explain to me how the columns work here, right? Then we wait for it. Then it actually tells you. So it's saying, this is the key line. Let's break it down. Repeat means create 3 columns. 1FR means 1 fraction of the available space. So it's one of the measurements that they use in CSS. Repeat creates 3 equal widths, and it actually gives you an example. Oh my god, that I didn't expect. And then it provides even more example and goes really, I mean, it can go as into details as you want it, right? So you will never have problem of not having feedback from Apocatly or any other person, because I'm pretty sure no one is as good as Cursor in coding. Let's be honest, maybe 10 people in the world. As long as you know what you want from it and you can explain it, even not clearly, it does everything for you and tells you how it's doing it. Which brings us to our second point, that you don't need to remember and memorize every minor detail, for God's sake. Should I use flex or should I use grid line? Where should I use padding? Was it the second or the third element? Should I define the function or should I just find the function already defined? See, it's the things that are wasting time and don't really impact the project, neither in long term or short term. There is always a best practice for every one of them, and these language models are well aware of these best practices. So why should you spend time on the things that you will never get good enough on them and you don't even want to get good on? So you just need to have the big picture, concentrate on what you want to do and get from this project, and trust that these AI tools are gonna do the best for you at structuring everything. The only important is that you are the driver. So if you don't know where you're going or how you should go there, then you might face problems. The moment the project starts getting a bit more complicated and you start incorporating a lot of different files, then you can see the cursor is lagging because there is a lot of information to analyze and keep in mind, and no one does it better than humans, at least up to this point. Now let's get to the third point, and my favorite point by far. This thing, when I discovered this thing, it blew my mind.
No shit.
Now, you might ask, okay, you're doing a lot of the stuff, I'm explaining the things, but how can you implement design? How can I show cursor? Okay, this is the design I want to put these things here, that thing on top, the other thing in the center. How can I explain it to cursor? Then my answer is that you don't need to explain it, you just need to show it. How? Let's say from this structure that we have here, that we already created in the previous part, we're gonna get directly to this header, to this image, right? So the only thing we should do is to copy this image, go to cursor, paste the image and say, apply the same structure as the image, and watch how the sweet magic happens. Now it's generating the code for the main HTML. Let's go ahead and apply it. Perfect. Now it's also doing the CSS. Let's wait for it to finish. Okay, it's finished, and then we can just go ahead and apply it to the CSS and accept the changes. See how the magic happens. Voila. I mean, I never work with this because I never do design on my daily job, and when I discovered it, I'm like, man, this is gonna make everyone's life so much easier. And it's not exactly the same thing as here, because this App Academy timesheet is actually an image. I should have mentioned to use the image instead of fonting. It actually kind of tried to replicate the font even. See, a bit, the orders are a bit off. For example, this should go below, and I mean, let's compare them together. The order is a bit low, but I mean the color, even the gearbox. Come on, that's gonna make things more than 9 times faster, let's face it. So you see, you will never have a problem with the designer anymore. If you have a problem, it means their design sucked. So just ask them to give you a better screenshot or better design, and you will never have to worry about images. As long as you can give a clear image or design to the cursor, it's gonna do it for you. The first way the cursor really helps you, which sounds less fun than the third one, but is an actual lifesaver, is the debugging function. This is the thing that you're going to spend like 99% of your time on debugging. 1% is coding and the rest is debugging forever and ever, whenever, whenever. So let's see how, for example, it can help us. Normally, you would catch the error, copy paste it in ChatGPT or copy paste it in Google and try to handle the error yourself. But let's see how we can do it with Cursor. So this is already the page that I made using Cursor. It took me 1 hour in total, which would have taken weeks if not for Cursor. And it's almost the same page as they expected. And there's an error. So to see an error, whenever we call on the cog here, basically the menu should be open, but it doesn't. So to see the error, we can just go to the console and you can see whenever exactly. And whenever I click on the code, there is this error getting caught every time. The only thing we just need to do is to copy paste this and go back to our sweet Cursor and saying, help me debug this code, debug this error, and explain what is the problem. Or you can just ignore it. I mean, if you're doing for production, you don't really need to know the problem. As long as it works, I'm not gonna touch it. So it actually says, let's debug this code. This error occurs when you're trying to access the class list property of an element that doesn't exist. In this case, this happened on line 8 of event handling.js. So on the current code, on the JavaScript code that we have on line 8, so here, and it also fixes for me. So I just need to play apply. It also suggests other things for me, which I'm not sure if I want to apply, but let's go back to the code and see if it works. Just need to refresh, and we still get the error. Probably we should do the full thing. Okay, we accept it. Now I think it changed the thing. So if we go back here and click on the code, oh yeah, perfect. Now it doesn't show anything, but probably because nothing is set, but we don't get that error. So super nice. Now this was a very simple error. You're gonna get errors that are lines and lines of codes and you don't really have a clue, especially if you're working with different languages. Errors can be really unknown to you, and why wasting time when Cursor does everything for you. And the fifth one, which is a bit more advanced, maybe later in your learning journey, is that you can actually try advanced functions and methods that you may have not learned or even never done in your previous projects. It's not that you're gonna spend every day reading about new stuff that are happening. You're gonna fall behind at some point. And honestly, it doesn't matter if the thing works, but sometimes it's nice to add something new or learn something new. And that's the best way to do it with Cursor, right? Because the only thing it takes is to ask. So we can just ask, let's say, can you add a cool animation happening when I click on the dog? Let's say I'm gonna explore animations. I've never done animations before, which is actually true. So I'm gonna ask Cursor if it can do some cool animation for me. It detects even the CSS as usual. So we're just gonna trust it and apply it. Let's go. Now we should apply it also in the JavaScript. True. And that's it. Let's see what's gonna happen. This is the first time I'm doing it, so I have no idea what's gonna happen here. Nothing's gonna happen here. Why? Ah, it is happening. Okay, nice. It is working. Perfect. But what's the animation? I don't see the animation, honestly. It moves 100-degree rotation animation whenever you click on the clock icon. The animation takes choosing to complete. Okay. Let's refresh it maybe again. You see, it's the clock that is turning. Okay, I'm gonna show it again. Look at the clock. Please. Did you see it? The turning of the wheel. That was cool, actually. Very minimal, but I would have never thought of it. Would never spend time to go find something like this. I mean, really? But discovering it and adding cool things literally takes 30 seconds, if not less. So that's it. Those are the 5 most important things in which Cursor helps me to learn way faster and have a lot of fun with it. So I hope you also have your share of fun with Cursor as I am having. If you're wondering how I can manage work-life balance and still making contents and work on my side hustles, you're more than welcome to see my first video in which I talk about myself and explain to you who I am and how I'm making these things happen while having a well-balanced life. If you want something more specific to know about Cursor or curious about me to actually develop a real project with Cursor, maybe mostly related to AI, just let me know in the comment. I will be glad to make another video for it and help you in your journey. So till the next video, ciao ciao.